Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Nur Shazia Atira binti Fazil and my module number is S72929. Today I will be presenting my mini project for animal behavior entitled Understanding Behavioral Patterns in Black Swan Cygnus atratus. The black swan, scientifically known as Cygnus atratus, is a swan species native to Australia. It is primarily herbivorous, feeding on aquatic plants, algae and grasses, with occasional consumptions of small invertebrates. Black swans are diurnal, meaning they are most active during the day. Their average lifespan range from 5 to 10 years, and they are known to display social behavior, often living in pairs or flocks. According to the IUCN Red List, the black swan is classified as least concern. This study was conducted at Taman Tamadun Islam Mini Zoo, Kuala Terengganu. Observation were carried out on 15 December 2025 from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. The objectives of this study are to identify the behaviors of black swan and to understand how the black swan interacts with its environment under different ecological conditions. And the hypotheses of this study are black swans exhibit distinct behavioral patterns and can be categorized, and environmental factors influence the frequency and duration of specific behaviors. And the study can help improving animal welfare management and conservation strategies. There are two individuals of black swans were observed in the study. The first individual is Shadow, a female adult, and the second individual is Storm, a male adult. Both individuals were observed under the same environmental condition to ensure consistency in data collections. According to the Animal Diversity Web, black swans feed mainly on submerged water plants with their long necks, dabbling at night or in the daytime. Although they are diurnal, they can also forage at night when necessary. If aquatic food resources are limited, black swans may move to nearby grazing land, and they are mainly herbivorous and feed on plants such as typha, potamogeton, myrophyllum, rupia, and algae, and infrequently on insects. They also graze at about 0.25 kg of fresh plant matter per kilogram of body weight per day, and more on grazing land. They often forage in flocks and may become nomadic when food availability decreases. According to the Dos Santos 2012, swans are diurnal but nocturnal travelers, which are socially and at times colonial. Their preferred food is high tides area with extensive seagrass beds, particularly during autumn, and wild animals forage more than captured animals because of food scattered naturally. These are the methods were used in the study. First, video recording was conducted for 5 to 6 minutes with 3 replicates to capture natural behavior without disturbance. Second, scan sampling was used to record behaviors at specific time intervals and compile into an etogram. Lastly, focus sampling was carried out to measure the frequency and duration of behaviors for each swan individuals. There are total 9 behaviors by the first individual shadow were recorded. The behaviors are eating, walking, fluffing its body feathers where it shakes its body, shaking tail feathers where a rapid tail movement to right and left direction, and then drinking, shaking head where a quick head movement to right and left direction, honking for vocal calls for communication, preening where using their bill and feet to groom and clean the body, and lastly basking where involving stretching their neck and raise wings. This is the basking behavior that was shown by Shadow. These are the 10 behaviors by the second individual Storm, and the behaviors are eating, and then lifting one leg up, which is he stand on his one leg, and then resting, stay still while standing, observing, shaking head, fluffing his body feathers, shaking tail feathers, drinking, walking, and lastly preening, where he uses his bill and feet to groom and clean the body. This is a behavior of Storm, where he raises his one leg up. This is the etogram that include all behaviors of Shadow and Storm across the 3 replicates. The behaviors are classified into 7 categories, which are firstly foraging, which are eating and drinking. Next, locomotion, where Storm and Shadow walking which is involving movement, while foraging, exploring and to move from one place to another place. Next, grooming or self-maintenance, including fluffing its body by raising and shaking body feathers to align the plumage, and then shaking tail feathers, where rapid tail movement to remove dirt or water, and then preening, using bill or feet to clean, align, and spread oil over its feathers to maintaining waterproofing. Next, lifting one leg up to stand on one leg to conserve heat or rest muscles. Shaking head, quick head movements to remove water, food debris, or insects. Next, communication, including honking, where vocal calls for communication or as contact calls between mates signal alarms or to express feelings. Next, social or display behavior, which is basking, a display posture involving neck stretching and wing raising to signal dominance or presence. And then resting behavior where remaining still while standing. And lastly, vigilance, where storm and shadow observing while remaining still while scanning the surroundings, involving raising the head. This is the focus sampling data that shows the frequency and the time spent in second of all behaviors across the three replicates. The behaviors are coded as EA for eating, DR for drinking, WK for walking, FL for fluffing its body feathers, ST shaking tail feathers, PR preening, LL for lifting one leg up, SH shaking head, HK honking, BS basking, RT resting, and OB for observing. Based on the mean frequency of shadow and storm behaviors across the three replicates, for the eating or EA behaviors, shadow exhibited the highest frequency among all behaviors with approximately 11.33 times, whereas storm showed a lower frequency at around 6 times. Next, drinking or DR shadow had a mean frequency of roughly 7.5, while storm's frequency was slightly lower at about 6 times. For walking, WK shadow was observed 4.33 times on average compared to storm at around 2.33 times. Next, FL, which represent fluffing body feathers, had the lowest frequency for both swans, with a shadow at approximately 1.767 and storm at about 0.33 times. Next, ST or shaking tail was observed more in storm at about 5 times, while shadow showed a mean frequency of roughly 3.67. For preening, storm had a higher frequency at 5.67, whereas shadow was only observed around 0.67 times. LL or lifting one leg up only showed by storm at frequency of 0.967 times. For shaking head, SH showed more activity on storm at around 5 times, while shadow was lower at 1 time. Honking HK was observed at roughly 1.67 times only on shadow. Next, BS or basking with shadow at frequency of 0.33. For RT or resting, storm was slightly higher at frequency of 3.33 times compared to shadow at 2.33 times. Finally, OB or observing was recorded around 3 times in storm and about 1.767 times in shadow. In summary, shadow, which is the green bar, tended to show more frequent in eating, drinking, and walking behaviors, while storm, the blue bar, exhibited more on preening, lifting one leg, shaking tails, and resting. Next, by looking at the graph of mean time spent in second on shadow and storm across the three replicates, the most prominent data point on the graph is eating, which is EA. Both swans spend more time feeding than on any other single behavior. Shadow is spending an average of approximately 175.67 seconds per observation period eating, and storm spends significantly less time at roughly 101 seconds. Next, walking WK, shadow has mean time spent approximately 48.67 seconds compared to storm approximately 35.33 seconds. Next, drinking DR. Both swans are nearly identical here, spending roughly 26 seconds for shadow and 27.33 seconds for storm. Next, shaking tail (ST). Both swans show a mean time span of 4.33 seconds for shadow and 6.33 seconds for storm. The most contrast in time allocation occurs in preening (PR) and LL lifting one leg up. Preening storm spend a massive amount of time preening, which is 87.23 seconds, and in contrast, shadows mean time spent preening is only 8 seconds. For LL, or lifting leg up, that only occur by storm and has mean time span of 32 seconds. For resting behavior (RT), storm have higher mean time span of 20.33 second than shadow, which is 11.67 second. Next, observing or OB, storm also has higher mean time span, which is 29.67 second than shadow, which is only 13 second. Finally, small amount of time dedicated to fluffing tail (FL), uh, fluffing body feathers (FL), shaking head or SH, honking HK, basking or BS, and observing OB behaviors. For fluffing body feathers (FL), the mean time span for shadow is 3.67 seconds, while storm is 0.33 seconds. Shaking head (SH) for both shadow and storm are 1 second and 5 seconds respectively. Honking (HK) and basking (BS) that was observed on shadow only, that have mean time span of 2.33 second and 1.67 second respectively. In summary, shadow, which is the green bar, tended to show more time spent in eating, drinking, and walking behaviors, while storm, the blue bar, exhibited more on preening, lifting one leg, resting, and observing behaviors. Based on the result, the higher frequency of behaviors are eating and drinking, and the highest time spent are also eating, walking, and preening behavior. Weather conditions such as rainfall, temperature, wind, and water level influence how often, how long, and where black swans forage. During the sampling and the video being recorded, the weather in Kuala Terengganu is cloudy but it's not rainy. In the wild, during rainfall, the rain increases water levels in wetlands and lakes. High water levels can increase access to submerged aquatic plants, make foraging easier using head dipping or upending. In addition, cooler temperatures increase energy requirements. Therefore, black swans may spend more time feeding to meet energy needs and reduce resting time. However, in hot conditions, swans may reduce foraging and increase resting to avoid heat stress. Captive black swans forage less in time than wild black swans, where birds forage around 6 to 8 hours daily. Inactive postures like standing while preening or lying increase, while active swimming and head dipping foraging decrease significantly. In conclusion, this study successfully identified and classified the behavioral patterns of black swan cygnus attractors in a captive environment. The findings showed that foraging and preening were the dominant behaviors, highlighting the importance of food availability and self-maintenance in daily activity budgets. Environmental factors, particularly weather conditions, were found to influence the frequency and duration of behaviors, supporting the initial hypothesis. Overall, this study provides valuable insights into black swan behavior and can contribute to better habitat management, animal welfare, and conservation planning, especially for captive populations. This is all the references that I use. I think that's all from me. Thank you.